how do we use science to create machines and technology in a way that doesn't subvert nature? And is that even possible? And if it isn't, should we all just be destroying our washing machines and television sets?
No, that's a great question. So I'll illustrate with this example. Rather, my son asked me, he said, "Daddy, is AI a good thing?" And that was a brilliant question. But I told him, I said, well, son, there's two questions there. It sounds like there's one question. There's actually two questions. One question is, can I use AI in good ways? Right? Now, of course, you can use AI in good ways, and you can use AI in evil ways. In fact, let's think about every technology. There's a good use and a bad use. Every technology is a kind of way of doing something. So depending on your end, it can be used well or used badly. Right? So every technology's use, right, is neutral.
Is that right? Or is there some technologies that are evil intrinsically, as it were? Like, is the A-bomb intrinsically evil? Or imagine a machine that only showed you pornography and there was nothing else to do on it. Yeah. There wouldn't be an appropriate way to use that machine.
Fair. Maybe there's one where the end is required for the use of the means. And so you can't use it for any end but a bad one. Then that would be one we'd never want to use. But like, think about, I don't know, maybe contraception as a chemical. Okay, right? So obviously its design as a chemical is its end to be used in that way we oppose. Right. But obviously there's certain situations in medical uses where there's people, women that aren't even married that use it for its medical use. So so I'm saying that as long as there's a good use to which it can be put, to that degree, technology is neutral. And so then AI in that sense is neutral. But I said, son, that's only one of the questions. And to me, this is lesson number one, right, is that technology isn't neutral. So that means we're not talking about the uses of a technology.
Technology isn't neutral.
Yes, which means every technology that's introduced into society changes the society in one direction. It's not neutral. Okay. It always changes the way we do things. And so that way we do things may or may not improve us as a people or as a society.
One example that comes to mind, I was chatting with someone who lives in Pittsburgh, and they were old enough to remember a time before the air conditioner when families would sit out on their front porches and chat with each other. Totally. And so everyone had a front porch, and that was conducive to communal life. When the air conditioner came in, people ceased doing that. But are we going to say that because of that, air conditioners are not conducive to human flourishing?
I don't think on that example we'd say that. But let me pick up that example in a second. So, but you nailed it. There's something that we added a technology to our society, and something was lost. Yeah. There's always things lost, and there's always things gained, and that's only one directional. That is not neutral. Now the question is, once we understand what that change is doing, is that making society better? Right. So then the question my son asked was, is AI a good thing? Means is there good uses for AI? That's one question. The other question is, will AI's introduction to society make society itself better? That's the question. Those are two very different questions. And so to me, the thing that we miss because we're technopolized in our minds, we're like obsessed with technology. It's the solution to problems. Never mind that some of those problems were probably created by previous technologies. Okay, but it's the solution to the problem. So then we don't think about that more fundamental question. Is this making our society a better society? In other words,
and if it isn't?
And if it isn't, then we should put the brakes on that technology.
Isn't this what the Amish do?
Yes, the Amish, they're a good example.
They have a period of time where they examine whether or not a technology is conducive to their community. Yes. So let me ask you the question, is the internet conducive to the good of mankind?
So to me, it's so hard to determine those questions when we're talking about like the internet affects the world.
Okay, how about our town? Is that what you're saying? Like bringing it down on a smaller level is easier to...
Yeah, to me, it's easier to imagine. So like these cell phones. Yeah. Imagine now you go to Leo's. Yeah. Right? And you go walk in there and maybe you see some people, but like 80% of them are looking at one of these or one of these. Yeah. And so now the lack of being connected to your people that you see repeatedly, right, is now an effect. Now, how do you estimate how do you estimate the extent to that's good or bad for society? Right, it's almost impossible.
Because they might be at Leo's watching our conversation, which might be helping them in some way.
Exactly. So once we're in this technological order, and that is a description of the modern world, a technological order, a technological society, that to me isn't debatable from a sociological point of view. Whether you love technology or hate technology, that is a fact.
It's funny that technology has come to mean computers.
Yes, and that's what I wanted to get back to again with the air conditioner. So maybe I'll jump over there. So you said, is the air conditioner not good for society overall? And I said, well, first of all, that's difficult to tell. But here's another thing that, to me, the second lesson of philosophy of technology is that a technology requires materials and conditions to be able to create it and use it, right? And so what kinds of things are required to make this? Because we think of this as a product. It's just, oh, here it is. But like, tell the history of this. And that's the second lesson. What's the history of this? In other words, there's materials in here that have been mined, right, in other countries, right, according to procedures and big machines that themselves have a history, right, for how to mine the materials, and then how they transported to other factories to be refined and then put together and made into a chip. Mm-hmm. That's just one piece of this thing. And so then you have this massive history behind this. And all of that has other technologies it's dependent on. And all of those technologies have technologies they're dependent on until you get to really basic things like mining. Like we've got to unturn the face of the earth to get minerals out of it to then make all the stuff that we use stuff for. So in other words, the history behind it is also part of, is this good or bad for society? Not just its effects when it's introduced, but what changes will be required in order to produce it. Right. So I don't know the answer to air conditioning. Like, what did we need to get the kind of parts and elements, materials to make an air conditioner? I don't even know. Right. But
suppose they were benign though. Suppose there wasn't much history to it.
But in any case, even if we mine in a way that was evil, did we have to mine in that way?
Yeah.
No, we don't have to. So if every step along the way, it's done in a way that respects creation, man, and God, right? Then of course you can make technologies. There's no problem. But the problem is we haven't been doing that. Mm-hmm. And so now we're in systems that have set up that are already, corrupted. They're already tilted toward evil. Mm-hmm. And so now the question is, how do we redeem that now that we're stuck in it?
Yeah.
And to me, the question of redeeming the social order, the technological order, the market state, right? The market system in the modern state, Hudge, Gudge, and Sludge.
Yeah.
It's like, there's nothing we can directly do by ourselves. It's like literally a stupid question. I can't change that, right? But God can, and I can entrust that to him. And then I need to realize now I have what I call the casuistical question. Okay. What do I individually do, right? Given that I'm participating in this order. So we can't avoid this. I have an Amazon Prime account. Yeah. I have a credit card. Right? I'm in the market system. I'm in the modern state. I'm in the technological order, and I can't get out of it and live. Right? So now the question is, how do I live in a way that doesn't compromise my conscience, and that I can be prudent in asking, should I not be participating in this way? So it's the question of participation, right? And that's an individual question.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.